Time to return to Romania, and a bit of a surprise. You'd be forgiven for thinking the motor trade here starts and ends with resident car company Dacia. But in fact, there's a booming classic restoration industry as well. I want to see the finest work in the country, so I've come to this industrial estate on the northern edge of Bucharest to visit a company called Oldtimer Studio. Apparently this place is a mecca for classic cars. Not so long ago, this place was a chicken shed, but owners Catalin and Ovidiu have transformed it into a den of magnificent metal. So Ovidiu, when did you start this Oldtimer Studio?
The Oldtimer Studio was started 15 years ago almost.
Then Catalin, you joined him a few years later?
Yeah, well, it was about more than 3 years ago, yes.
But are you a mechanic yourself, or are you the businessman?
Well, no. Strangely enough, I'm a lawyer. So I'm a lawyer. Ovidiu is the technical guy, so I focus more on the administration part.
But where do you find all these cars? Where do the customers come from?
Originally, the business was intended for Romanian customers, and the years went by. We got more and more customers from outside Romania, typically from Germany, France, Italy, UK, Austria.
The reason why foreign customers are flocking here is simple: value for money. Romania's low labour rates mean the best mechanics here charge €25 an hour, and that's barely half what you'd pay in the UK. So, whereas preparing and respraying this MG would cost around £3,000 in Britain, here it's just £1,800. And while Oldtimer would charge £15,000 to completely restore this TVR Griffith, expect double that back in Blighty. And naturally, I want to drive some of their work, so I persuaded Catalin to let me take two of his favourites to a nearby kart track. I think I'll start with some glamour. This 1966 Mercedes-Benz 230 SL was discovered as a rusty, rotting wreck in the United States of America, bought for about $6,000, brought to Romania and given a €40,000 complete rebuild, something that would have cost significantly more in England. It's now as good as new, gleaming and glorious, and worth around €70,000. That's quite a good business when you add up the numbers. It's hard to believe this car was once a basket case worth less than half the price of a new Fiesta. Now, everything down to the red leather seats seem just as fresh as when it rolled out of the showroom 49 years ago. And it is a lovely car. The straight-six 2-litre engine has only got just over 100 horsepower, so little in modern-day terms. Disc brakes on the front, servo to help them slow the car down, power steering, but still a lot of lock needed. It just reminds you how cars have changed over the last 50 years, from taut, no-roll, high-revving sports cars to this elegant, roly-poly style of the past. And I rather like it. But whilst this beautiful Mercedes is a magnificent example of what Oldtimer Studio can do to a classic sports car, I fancy something a bit sportier. This 1969 MGC was discovered at the Essen Motor Show in Germany. Brought back to Romania, given the full restoration. But as you can see and hear, this restoration went a bit further, because this is Catalin's personal motorsport project, and he competes in the Romanian Hill Climb Championship. And instead of the usual 100 horsepower from the straight-six 3-litre in the front, he's got 150 horsepower, thanks partly to adding a third Weber carburettor. And it sounds lovely! There's quite a few more tricks besides. He's also got a straight cut gearbox, which you can hear. He's moved the seat back, got this long steering column, but unfortunately he's a bit shorter than me and it's too long. He's also gone to the effort of moving the engine back some 18 centimetres, because this MGC was never renowned as the best handling car. every bit of extra weight you can get over those rear wheels goes to try and help tame it.
Although the MGC is definitely not for sale, it's now worth in the region of £40,000. It's a truly unique machine and illustrates another joy of restoring classic cars. Not only can you bring a vintage motor back to life, but you have the opportunity to tailor it to your own personal tastes. I just think that some of Catalin's tastes are a bit different to mine.
Catalin's put a quicker steering rack on it for motorsport. He's then put modern track day tyres on the front which make it grip more. And the net result is very heavy steering. And the fact my elbow's jammed in the door. This is hard work. I don't normally shuffle steering wheels in racing cars. But when I go left, I've got no choice. Oh, bang my elbow now. Oh, I'm in pain. I'm in pain.
I've sampled two extremes of Catalin and Ovidio's work, and it's clear that their company isn't just popular because it's cheap.
Not only can Oldtimer Studio make cars look as good as when they were new, they can even make them handle better than when they were new.